God's chosen ones. Justice revealed when the enemy falls. God's chosen ones. Stop right now. This is no coincidence. As you hear these words, all of heaven has paused so that a message can go straight to your soul. In the darkness of tonight, the clock strikes exactly 12 and the bell tolls 3 times. It is the sign that a new chapter is opening. You sense an unusual heartbeat. This is not anxiety, it is a call. Chosen one. The enemy's plan has fallen apart. Every door that closed did so only to open another way for you. You are not abandoned, you are not forgotten. And in this very moment tonight, this day, everything will change if you listen. Chosen one. Have you ever wondered why the night feels so long? Why trials keep coming one after another as if life itself is against you? There are days when you feel you have only a faint breath left to hold on to, and you ask yourself, does God still remember me? But the very moment you ask that question is a sign. Because if you are hearing this, it means He has already sent you the answer. Remember, not a single step you take is in vain. Not a single tear falls that heaven does not record. Imagine the night sky silent. Everything around you seems to stop. The clock strikes, the breeze stirs softly, and in that stillness, a voice whispers into your soul, I am still here. And because you are still here, you have won. The postponements, the doors slammed shut. The times you were betrayed, none of these were meant to bury you, but to refine you. Like metal in the furnace, every hammer blow that seems ready to break you is actually shaping you into a powerful weapon. And you are that weapon. Chosen one, do not think you have been forgotten. In truth, you are being kept hidden. Some things reveal themselves only in their appointed season, and now you are stepping into that season. The season when what the enemy intended to use to destroy you, God will turn into the foundation for your exaltation. Let your heart open, let your ears listen. For in the minutes ahead, you will receive a message, not only to comfort you, but to awaken you, to pull you to your feet, to remind you you are the chosen one. And from this moment, nothing will be the same. Part 1. You are alive. And victory, chosen one. Let me whisper this truth deep into your soul. The very fact that you are still here in this moment is proof of a great victory. You may not feel it. You may look around and see only ashes, failures, and dreams that seem gone. But your breath still rising in your chest is living evidence that the enemy's plan has failed. You've walked through nights too long to bear, when whispers in your mind said it's over. There is no way out. And yet somehow you woke up the next morning. That wasn't just willpower. That was the unseen hand of the one who called your name before the world began. Others may only see scars, but God sees a warrior who survived storms that crushed many. Your weakness is not defeat. It is proof of a supernatural strength carrying you. The Bible declares, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17, weapons were formed. Words, betrayals, hidden traps, but none of them won. The proof is that you are still alive. Every breath you take whispers, I am not defeated. Every step you take strikes back against the darkness. You are the candle in the dark room. The enemy tried to blow you out, but the flame is still burning. And if the flame is still alive, your purpose is not over. Remember, victory is not about never falling. Victory is rising again every time you fall. If the enemy could have destroyed you, you would not be here. But you are here. You hear these words. You live, and that is your victory. Part 2, the flame that cannot be extinguished, chosen. 1, listen closely. Nothing you have endured has been random. Every breeze, every storm, every betrayal, every ache has been part of a refining journey. Your life is not a string of isolated failures. It is a furnace where you are being refined day by day. Like precious metal glowing in the fire, each hammer blow that seems cruel is shaping you forming you into a sharp weapon in the hand of the Creator. You are not being destroyed, you are being forged into a warrior. There are nights you ask yourself, why is everything so hard for me? Why do others seem to glide forward while I keep stumbling? The answer is simple. You are not ordinary. The light you carry is not a passing glow. It is a flame that makes darkness tremble, a fire that terrifies the enemy. So he tries every way to snuff you out. But he has forgotten one truth: the more a fire is tested, the brighter it burns. The flame you bear is proof you are chosen. If you were not, he would not bother. That is why you are struck more, tested more, and why you become stronger than anyone imagined. Picture a blacksmith in a dark forge, an anvil glowing red before him. He lifts the heavy hammer. Sparks fly every time it falls. The hammer sounds like thunder. The blaze looks as if it would swallow everything. From the outside, it seems the metal is being ruined. In truth, it is being formed into a sword strong enough to cut chains. That is you. Sleepless nights, silent tears, the harsh words of those you trusted. None were meant to break you, but to make you strong, to become a weapon the darkness cannot bend. The scriptures tell us in James, consider trials as occasions for joy, because the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Chosen one. This is not merely ancient text, it is unfolding in your life. Your faith did not grow in easy days, but in long nights of tears. Trials have made you steady. They have shown you your true strength. You are no longer easily shaken. Your roots run deep into an unshakable foundation. Remember the times you thought you were trapped with no escape. A job lost, a relationship torn, a door slammed shut. The enemy laughed, thinking he had won. But look again, those traps became stepping stones. Like Joseph, sold by his brothers, cast into prison, forgotten in the dark. Everyone believed his story over, yet the prison became the corridor to the throne. The enemy's snare became the path to destiny. So the losses you bore, the falls you suffered, are not full stops. They are commas that open a new chapter. Imagine an ancient oak alone in a field. When the storm comes, people expect it to break. Wind screams, rain pelts down, earth shakes as if the sky will uproot it. But underground, the roots grow deeper, clutching harder, finding stronger water. When the storm passes, the tree still stands taller, firmer. You are that tree. The storms do not yank you out. They drive your roots of faith deeper. Thus, when the light returns, you rise stronger, unshakable. People see you step into the light and call it luck. They do not see the years you were hidden in darkness. They do not know how many nights you bowed your head in silent prayer, or the stifled sobs when you asked God, why, but heaven heard. Those hidden years are the foundation for the coming moment of glory. Like David before he faced Goliath, he fought lions and bears in the wilderness, unseen and uncelebrated. That was the furnace where he learned to conquer and stand firm before the nation knew his name. So it is with you. The fire within you was never meant to destroy you. It is your weapon. It lights your way, melts the chains that bound you, and sends darkness fleeing when you step forward. Every time you pray, the flame flares. Every time you lift a song of praise, the fire rises. Every time you forgive love or stand, the flame grows brighter, stronger, and the enemy trembles. This is why your battle is fierce, not because you are weak, but because you bear a flame no one else carries. Do not hide the fire. Do not let fear, shame, or doubt smother it. The light you carry is not only for you, it is for those around you, still lost in night. You are the torch in the dark, the city on a hill that cannot be concealed. When you stand, the night sky changes. When you move, darkness retreats. When you speak, the flame spreads from you, rekindling hearts that were losing hope. Chosen one, now I call you to a prophetic act. Write in your heart or even speak aloud 3 words. The flame will not go out. This is more than words. It is a declaration, a heavenly seal, that you will not allow your fire to be quenched. It is a reminder to your soul that the enemy's plan has failed and you will walk as a living torch. Look back. You thought you had failed, yet here you stand. You thought the flame was out, yet it still burns. You thought the story had ended, yet a new page has just opened. The fire within you is not fragile. It has been tempered in sorrow, refined in trial, and now burns more brilliantly than ever. The enemy tried to blow it out and only made it blaze. Today, as you hear this, that fire reignites, ready to lead you into a season of public victory. You are not merely a survivor. You are the fire that cannot be extinguished. You do not just pass through fire. You prove that fire cannot consume what God has chosen. You do not merely endure. You are destined to blaze. Now is the time for that flame to spread, for the world to see that the enemy's plan has failed and that you, the chosen one, have prevailed. Part 3. Roots after the storm. Chosen one, have you ever felt like your life is nothing but delay? You pray, you wait, you hope, and month after month, nothing seems to change. You look around and see others promoted, others answered, while you remain standing at a crossroads. In that waiting, the enemy whispers, "You've been forgotten. That promise will never come to pass." But the truth is different. Delay is not denial. It is the way God drives your roots deeper, so you won't just sprout for a short season, but stand firm through every storm. Imagine a seed. Once it is sown into the ground, it disappears. No one sees it anymore. Outsiders look and say, "It's dead." But what is really happening is this: the seed is cracking open, roots are pushing down, searching for water, gripping the soil. Before anyone ever sees a green shoot, there is a hidden battle beneath the surface. Only when the roots run deep does the plant rise ready to stand. That is why you must pass through silent seasons, not because you are abandoned, but because you are being built from within. Lamentations 3:22 says, "Because of the Lord's great mercy we are not consumed. His compassions never fail. In the season of delay, that mercy still covers you." You think nothing is happening, but everything is happening where you cannot yet see. Sometimes God hides you not to punish, but to protect. If a tender shoot breaks the surface too early, the first wind can snap it. But if it remains hidden long enough, it will not only stand, it will soar. Think of the times you longed for a door to open and instead it slammed shut. You wept, you burned with anger, you thought you had missed your only chance. Years later you see it clearly. If that door had opened, then you were not ready. It would have harmed you. The delay saved you. The delay prepared you. The delay was mercy in disguise. Someone once prayed for a relationship to be restored. She was sure that losing that person would destroy her life, but God allowed it to end. Years later, she looked back and saw that what felt like loss was really deliverance. That person could never have walked with her to the place God had appointed. Had God let it continue, it would have killed the greater dream within her. That delay saved her life. Chosen one. The storms of life are not uprooting you, they are pushing your roots deeper. Each setback leads you to a deeper stream. Each time you feel out of strength, a new strength rises from the root. And when the storm passes, you find you have not only survived, you have grown stronger, wiser, steadier. Think of Joseph. Before the throne, there were years of prison, forgotten, betrayed. Those delays were not refusals. They were preparation. If he had been lifted too soon, he would not have had the wisdom to govern. But because his roots grew deep in the darkness, the day destiny arrived, he stood firm, and he saved not only himself, but a nation. Perhaps you are in your own prison, a long season with no visible exit. Remember, delay does not mean failure. It means your roots are growing, and when they are deep enough, you will break the surface unstoppable. The enemy wants you to believe you are abandoned. Truth says you are hidden. There is a holy difference between being abandoned and being hidden. Abandoned means forgotten. Hidden means protected for a precise moment. Like a diamond formed in darkness under great pressure, you are being formed in the quiet season. When the time comes to bring you into the light, you will shine and nothing will dim it. Let this settle in you. Delay is not killing your dream. It is making your dream stronger and more durable. It is teaching you patience, teaching you trust, teaching you to live not by feelings, but by God's promise. And when the day comes, no door can stay shut, no power can hold you back, for God Himself will open the way. If you believe this word is for you, whisper it to your heart or write it boldly as a sign. My roots are deeper. Let it be your prophetic declaration that you are not uprooted and not forgotten. You are digging deep. You are being prepared. And soon the world will see your tree rise, blossom, and bear fruit. So when you look around and nothing seems to change, do not despair. The greatest change is happening within you. A tree does not see its roots growing, yet they grow. And one day what has been hidden will burst into the light. Chosen one, do not fear delay. Do not label it failure. Call it foundation. For delay is making you unshakable. And when the day arrives, no one and nothing will deny that you were prepared for that moment. You are not forgotten. You are hidden. You are not failing. You are taking root. And you will not merely survive the storm. You will rise after the storm, steadier, taller, brighter. For you, chosen one, are a tree planted by living waters. You will bear fruit in season, and not a single leaf will wither. Part 4. Joseph, from the pit to the throne. Chosen one, have you ever felt like your life is an endless chain of betrayals? The one you trusted most pushed you over the edge. The one you loved and believed in turned away, leaving you alone in the dark. If you felt that, know this, you are not alone. Long ago, there was a young man who drank from that same cup, and his story still echoes today. Joseph, son of Jacob, hated by his brothers, sold off, thrown into a pit. And from that pit, he walked toward the throne of Egypt. Picture it, a 17-year-old boy entrusted with great dreams. He saw sheaves bowing to his sheaf, the sun, moon, and stars bending low before him. But instead of affection, he met fury. Jealousy burned in his brothers' hearts. They plotted harm. One day, when Joseph came to the field to find them, they threw him into a pit. Can you imagine that pain? The mocking of his own blood, the cold dirt against his skin, the wind howling up from the hole, while his heart cried, Why would they do this to me? Maybe you've asked the same about family, friends, co-workers, even the one you loved. The answer is not easy, but Joseph's story teaches this betrayal does not kill your destiny. It escorts you toward it. When Joseph was sold as a slave, he may have thought, the dream is over. I will die unknown. But the dream didn't die. It was hidden like a seed beneath the soil. In Potiphar's house and then in prison, Joseph stayed faithful. Each day he learned what his future required, how to manage, how to wait, how to endure. Every step that looked like a fall was actually a step closer. Perhaps you are in your own prison, a job you dislike, a circumstance you can't escape, a relationship that feels like a grave. You wonder, is this the promise God gave me? Like Joseph, where you are today may be only the corridor. Today's prison may be tomorrow's pathway to the throne. You are not lost. You are being led. You just can't yet see the whole map. Genesis 50:20 records Joseph's words to his brothers. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to save many lives. Chosen one. Let that be engraved on your heart. What the enemy designed to destroy you, God will turn into rescue for many through you. Your sorrow will become someone else's blessing. Your tears will become a river for the next generation. Imagine Joseph stepping out of prison and into Pharaoh's court chains, traded for silk darkness, for light in a single day. That wasn't luck. That was God's careful staging through the pit, through Potiphar's house, through the cell, fashioning a man fit for a throne, a no pit, no prison, no throne. And so with you. Each time you're pushed into a pit, remember the pit is a stop, not the finish. Each betrayal is not the last word, but a stepping stone. Each moment that feels like total loss is the very place where God writes reversal. Chosen one, hold this close. You may be in a pit, but the pit cannot hold you. You may be in chains, but the cell cannot keep you. The day of reversal is coming, the day when the enemy trembles to see the grave he dug become your launch pad. Your tears become anointing oil, mockery turn into praise. You ask when. That is the question of every chosen one. When will the dream come true? When will I leave this darkness? I cannot give you the hour, but I can give you certainty that day will come. Joseph woke up a prisoner and went to bed beside a throne. God does not need much time to turn the tide, only a moment. And that moment often arrives when you least expect it. So do not let the pit or the prison define you. Let the dream define you. Let the promise define you. Human betrayal cannot cancel God's plan. In His hands, it becomes part of it. If you believe this word is yours, speak it over your heart or write it boldly from the pit to the throne. Let it be your prophetic banner. Where you are is not the end. It is a stage on the way. Higher, farther, brighter is ahead. And when that day comes, you will see that every pit, every prison, every betrayal was God's choreography to bring you home to the place you belong. Then you, like Joseph, will say, "You meant it for evil, but God turned it for good." Stand firm, chosen one. The throne is waiting. Part 5, Mercy and Restoration Chosen. 1. Perhaps the deepest fear in your heart is not the enemy out there, nor the battles that rage day and night, but the quiet fear that whispers, "I've gone too far to come back. I've lost too much to redeem. I'm too broken to ever be healed." You can smile in public, but when night falls, when it's just you and the drumbeat of your heart, the silence turns into a piercing cry. Does God still remember me? Is everything truly over? In those moments, the enemy never misses his chance. He hisses, "You have no worth. You ruined everything. You'll never be forgiven. There will never be another chance." His lies wrap around your soul like chains and steal your breath. But, chosen one, there is another voice in heaven, gentle yet full of authority, still speaking. "You have never been beyond my reach. You have never gone so far that I cannot touch you. You have never fallen so deep that my mercy cannot lift you." Scripture says in Lamentations 3:22-23, "Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for His mercies never end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." Let this sink into your bones. Never end means they never run dry. New every morning means that with each sunrise, a fresh river of mercy flows towards you. Yesterday you may have stumbled. Today another door opens. Yesterday you wept. This morning holds a new beginning. Many think mercy stops at forgiveness, as if God erases sin but leaves you limping in shame. Mercy doesn't stop there. Forgiveness is the first step. Restoration is the destination. Forgiveness wipes the stain from the gem. Restoration polishes it and sets it back in the crown. You are not merely excused, you are lifted, robed again, given a ring and called by your first name. "You are my child." Remember Peter. Before the rooster crowed, he denied the Lord 3 times. He had promised to be faithful unto death, yet fear shattered him. When Jesus' eyes met his, he ran away in bitter tears, certain his story was over. But no, on the shore, the risen Jesus found him. He didn't ask, "Why did you betray me?" He asked, "Do you love me?" 3 denials became 3 affirmations. Peter wasn't only forgiven, he was restored. And the man who thought he'd lost everything preached a word. that turned 3,000 hearts on Pentecost. Failure was not the period. Mercy became the platform. Look at the others. Jacob the deceiver became Israel, the father of a nation. David, adulterer and murderer, was called a man after God's heart. Paul the persecutor became an apostle and a writer of Scripture. Their common thread, mercy, found them, restored them, and made their light brighter than before. Picture a clay vessel shattered on the floor. Most would throw it away, but like kintsugi, the Japanese art of mending with gold, the master gathers the pieces and binds them with glory, turning cracks into shining veins. Mercy doesn't hide your fractures, it makes them windows for the light. Or see an old tree after a storm. People assume it's finished, but from the deep roots, a new shoot rises stronger, taller. The storm didn't kill it, the storm forced its roots deeper. That is restoration. You may feel like the fallen tree, the broken jar, but the hands of God do not discard. He is the craftsman who mends with gold, the gardener who nourishes roots. He is restoring you not to who you were, but to something stronger, steadier, more radiant. A man once drowned in gambling and addiction, family gone, friends gone, sleeping on the street. One night in despair, he prayed, "God, if you still remember me." A stranger came with bread and a prayer. That night became his first step out, rehab, recovery, rebuilding. Today, he helps others break free. Mercy didn't just rescue him. Mercy restored him and made him a rescuer. A woman after a shattered marriage lost faith and direction. In her darkest night, a whisper came, "You are not finished. I still have plans for you." From the ashes, she entered a season of rebuilding, stronger, wiser, and now she inspires thousands walking the same valley. That is mercy. Chosen one, mercy does more than pardon. Mercy rebuilds. Forgiveness says you are cleared. Restoration says you still carry worth. You still carry destiny. Forgiveness closes the past. Restoration opens the future. Mercy is doing both for you. You may think you've lost too many years, yet God says in Joel 2:25, "I will restore to you the years the locust has eaten." Restore, not start from zero, but repay and redeem. In His hands, time is never wasted. In His hands, failure becomes seed, and harvest will come. Let this be carved into your heart. The past does not define you. Mistakes do not chain you. Wounds do not finish you. Mercy names you, and where mercy dwells, restoration rises. So right now, take a prophetic step. Whisper or write, "Mercy found me." In saying it, you agree with heaven that mercy is greater than your past, and you announce to the earth, restoration starts now. Chosen one, you are not over. Your dream is not over. Your calling is not over. Mercy is flowing and restoration is on the way. You will not only stand, you will shine. You will not only be forgiven, you will be restored. You will not only survive, you will live in abundance. God does nothing halfway. He completes. He turns ruins into masterpieces, scars into testimonies, ashes into crowns. Chosen one, imagine yourself walking across a field of ashes. Everything that was once green is now dry soil and gray dust. You sit, take ash in your hand, and ask, "Is this all that's left of me? Is this all my life has become?" Then on the wind a whisper rises. Ashes are not the end. Ashes are where I plant new seed. From here I will grow what you never imagined. In that moment you realize mercy doesn't just notice the ruin. Mercy turns ruin into the foundation of restoration. Remember Job. He lost everything, children, wealth, health, in a short span of time. He sat among the ashes, scraping his skin with shards, grieving. Friends accused him. Even his wife said, "Curse God and die." Yet in the pain he declared, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him." And in the end, God restored Job and gave him twice what he had lost. Mercy doesn't merely repay. Mercy multiplies. You think you've lost it all, but in God's hands it returns greater, larger, brighter. Perhaps you say, but I made too many mistakes. I'm not like righteous Job. I ruined my own life. Chosen one, hear this. Mercy is not for the perfect. Mercy is for the broken. If you had never fallen, you would not need restoration. Because you are broken, mercy has room to work. Because you are cracked, the light has a way in. There is an art in Japan where broken pottery is repaired, not by hiding the cracks, but by making them shine. Why? Because the cracks are part of the story. What makes the vessel beautiful is not that it never broke, but that it was broken and then restored. So it is with you. Your scars are part of your story. Mercy doesn't erase them. Mercy turns them into testimony. Each fracture becomes a window where others can see God's light. When you understand this, you stop being ashamed of your past. Instead of hiding, you can say, "Here is where I broke, and here is where God healed me. Here is where I lost, and here is where God repaid. Here is where I thought it ended, but from that very place I began again." Your story becomes a living witness to the power of mercy. Look at Paul. Once he was Saul, hunting, imprisoning, even killing the first believers. If anyone deserved to be thrown away, it was him. Yet on the road to Damascus, a blazing light fell, and a voice called, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?" That was the hour mercy found him. The persecutor became an apostle who penned much of the New Testament. His life proves this. No one goes so far that mercy cannot reach them. And you, chosen one, are no exception. You may have gone far, but not farther than Paul. You may have fallen deep, but not deeper than David when he took a man's life. You may have deceived, but not more than Jacob. Yet they were restored, called, and used, and so will you be. Hold this image, an old lamp, dark and dusty, thought to be useless. The craftsman does not throw it away. He wipes it clean, replaces the wick, pours fresh oil, and the lamp burns again brighter than before. That is you. You are not discarded. You are being restored. Now imagine yourself before a mirror. Look into your own eyes, tired, lined, carrying years of pain. Behind you stands a presence with a hand on your shoulder, whispering, "You are not finished. You still carry worth. You are still my beloved child." And today, mercy has found you. If you believe this, speak it boldly. Mercy found me. As you say it, you agree with heaven that mercy is greater than sin, greater than failure, greater than your past. You are stepping into a season of restoration. Do not think you must rebuild yourself. Restoration does not come by your strength. It comes by mercy. God himself will lift you robe. You place a ring on your hand and spread a table before your enemies. And when the enemy sees you seated, he will tremble, for he will know his plan to destroy you has failed. Stand firm, chosen one. Rise, breathe deep, and believe a new chapter is beginning. The past does not bind you. Mistakes do not define you. Failure does not finish you. Mercy defines you. Mercy restores you. And mercy is turning your story into living proof that he never abandons the ones he has chosen. You are not merely a survivor. You are evidence that mercy never ends. You are not only forgiven, you are restored. You are not merely as you once were, you are lifted higher, farther, brighter. And from this day, everything changes. Part 6, the armor forged, anew. When you walk out of a long and exhausting battle, sometimes all you carry are wounds, heavy breaths, and the naked sense of having nothing left to protect you. You feel like your body is weak, your armor shattered, your shield broken, your sword scattered in pieces on the ground. You look at yourself and see defeat. But here is a truth you may have never heard clearly. That very nakedness is the beginning of the greatest renewal. In that moment of loss, God is preparing a brand new armor for you, one not borrowed, not fake, not a shell to hide weakness, but armor forged in fire, recreated from your broken pieces and fitted perfectly to the destiny he wrote for you. picture a warrior returning from a brutal battlefield. Helmet dented, shield cracked, sword broken. People shake their heads saying he will never fight again. But a master blacksmith steps forward, gathers the fragments and carries them to the forge. Sparks fly, the hammer strikes, fire burns, and little by little, from melted fragments, a new shape emerges, stronger, brighter, unbreakable. That is you in God's forge. Every disappointment, betrayal, and failure becomes raw material in His hands. Not a single tear is wasted, not one scar ignored, not one fall overlooked. Everything enters His fire and is reborn into an armor no one else can wear but you. Do you remember David? He stood before Goliath, and King Saul offered him his own armor. It was shiny, heavy, majestic. But David said, "I cannot go with these." He laid them aside and picked up his staff, 5 stones, and his sling. With that, he defeated the giant. The lesson: you cannot fight in borrowed armor. Only the armor forged from your journey by God's own hand will truly protect and free you. God's forge is unlike any other. It burns but does not destroy. It hurts, but it heals. Every strike of His hammer is shaping, not breaking. Every spark declares you are not finished. You are being remade. Paul wrote, "Put on the full armor of God so that you can stand against the schemes of the enemy." Truth, righteousness, faith, salvation, the Word. They are not just metaphors, but living realities. After fire, your shield of faith is stronger because it has been tested through countless nights of prayer and tears. Your sword of the Word is sharper because its words are no longer just knowledge, but life carved in blood and tears. Your scars are no shame. They are proof you survived. And the enemy trembles because the very weapons meant to destroy you have reforged you into the undefeatable. So don't fear when your old armor falls away. Don't panic when you feel exposed. It only means something greater is being forged. You are no longer fighting to survive. You are fighting to conquer. You are not just defending, you are advancing. You are not merely a survivor, you are a warrior forged anew. You may have felt stripped bare on the battlefield, no weapon, no armor, nowhere to hide. Yet looking back, you'll see that very season was the beginning of change. The feeling of losing everything was God's invitation into His forge. There you are, no longer the old version of yourself, no longer propped up by borrowed protection or false strength. You are remade into a true warrior. In the heat, what is weak is burned away. What is impure is separated, and what remains is the pure core that can withstand every blow of war. Do you see? Often the pain itself is the process of renewal. If you watch from a distance, the fire seems to destroy you. In truth, it is shaping you. As gold is refined in flame and steel is tempered in the furnace, your soul must pass through fire so the new armor can take form. There is something else. Your new armor is not only for defense, it is also for the advance. For years, you may have fought just to hold the line, to keep a little peace, to survive the day. But God did not make you merely to survive. He made you to conquer, to enlarge territory, to move forward and not retreat. So the new armor does more than stop arrows. It places a sharp sword in your hand, a steady shield on your arm, readiness on your feet, and salvation upon your head, so you can move straight ahead. Life stops being a string of last-ditch defenses and becomes a steady march, each step leaving a mark and opening a way for those who follow. I once met a woman whose life was locked in fear and rejection. She always believed she wasn't good enough, worthy enough, strong enough. Through losses and wounds, she was pushed into a holy quiet, nothing left but prayer and nights of silent tears. In that time, God forged her not with applause or success, but with silence, waiting, and patience. One day she stood up changed. Her voice no longer trembled. Her eyes no longer looked down. She walked like a warrior in new armor, shining not on the outside as people once demanded, but lit from within by the certainty that she is chosen, loved, and equipped to never be a victim again. That is you. You may have thought you were only weak, only a survivor by luck. But when you wear the new armor, you know who you are. You stop counting losses and start walking with what you have: faith, promise, patience, love. These, though small to some, are true steel and living fire weapons no enemy can break. As God reforges you, He teaches you to discern true armor from false. There were times you wore outer shells to impress, to look strong. But when the real battle came, they shattered. The new armor is not boast, it is truth. It bears the marks of nights you prayed with tears, the seasons you wanted to quit but clung to His promise. It is a strength you cannot manufacture, only receive by passing through fire. This truth frees you from proving anything to anyone. You need no glossy coating. Your inner armor already carries heaven's seal. Remember Paul's words, "When I am weak, then I am strong." The places you call weakest become the very plates forged strongest. The parts you wish to hide become proof you have been remade. The wounds that once dropped you to your knees become the marks that tell others, if you can stand, so can they. Do not imagine this armor will never be tested. It will, but unlike before, you won't tremble. You know every blow only hardens the plate. Every strike only proves this fire-forged armor cannot snap. Eventually, the enemy realizes his mistake. He thought fire would turn you to ash. The fire turned you to steel. Picture the day you step onto the field, not as a survivor, but with the bearing of a warrior. You don't need to shout. Your armor speaks, its scars gleam, telling the stories you've crossed, declaring to darkness, "This one has been reforged. This one will not fall like before." From that moment, you no longer fight only for yourself. Your armor becomes a signal fire. Others see you and believe they too can rise, enter the forge, and be remade. Your armor becomes living testimony that God not only saves from death, He turns the saved into warriors. So do not fear the fire, the hammer, or the wounds. All of it is making you. One day you will look back and know nothing was wasted. Every pain, every failure, every loss helped forge the armor you wear. Then you won't say, "I survived." You will say, "I was reforged." And today, let these words become a prophetic act. Whisper it to yourself, or declare it aloud, "I put on new armor." You are not wearing borrowed mail or hiding under a painted shell. You stand in armor forged by the hand of God. And what He forges, no power can break. This is your time to advance, not with borrowed strength, but with true resilience. This is your time not merely to survive, but to live as a witness, a warrior, a bearer of heaven's armor. This is your time to know you are chosen, equipped, and undefeatable. Part 7. The Call from the Depths. There are moments when you feel like you are falling, not step by step, but in free fall with nothing to hold on to, nothing to stop the descent. You reach out to grasp something, but everything slips away, and you know you are plunging into the depths. The wind roars in your ears, the darkness swallows you whole, and in that moment you think, "This is it. This is the end of my life." The depths seem bottomless. There is no light, no sound, except the pounding of your own heart, each beat echoing like a drum, announcing the end. You crash against the walls of despair and lie still in the cold silence. There no one hears your cry. No one knows you are still alive. You may walk among the crowd outside, but inside, you are in the depths. The laughter, the voices, the bright lights of the city cannot touch where you are. In your soul, there is only darkness. And you wonder, does God hear me from here? Does anyone still call my name? Jonah was there too. When he ran from God, he was thrown into the sea and swallowed by a great fish. For 3 days and 3 nights, he lived in the belly of death, no light, no fresh air, no hope. But it was there in the very depths that Jonah prayed. From the belly of Sheol, I cried out, and you heard my voice. And the miracle came. The great fish released him, and Jonah was given a second chance. What seemed like the end became a new beginning. Joseph was there too, sold by his brothers, falsely accused, thrown into prison. In the darkness of that Egyptian dungeon, he must have wondered many times, where is the promise God gave me in those dreams? What did I do wrong? But it was in the prison that God was preparing him for the throne. No pit, no prison, no depths, no destiny. And above all, Jesus himself was there. 3 days in the tomb meant 3 days of silence. The disciples thought it was over, hope was dead. But in the heart of the earth, the greatest life of all was being born. When the stone rolled away, resurrection light broke forth, and all of history changed forever. The depths are not where God abandons you. The depths are where he whispers words you cannot hear anywhere else. On the mountaintop, the winds and the cheers drown out his voice. But in the depths, when all noise is silenced, you finally hear the true call. And it is not condemnation, it is awakening. You are not finished. I still have plans for you. Get up. I once knew a man who had it all: wealth, success, admiration. But when crisis struck, his company collapsed, his family broke apart, his friends turned away. He fell into the depths. One night he wandered the streets, ready to end his life. But in that moment he heard a whisper in his heart. You still have value, come home. That call saved him. He started over, not in pride, not in wealth, but in grace. Today he helps thousands who are in despair because he knows the depths. He has heard the call from the depths. So do you, chosen one. You may be in a place unseen by others, but you know you are falling. You know you are in the dark. But listen closely, for even in silence there is still a voice. It is not the voice of accusation or despair. It is the voice of your Creator. My child, I am here. My child, get up. My child, I am not done with your story. You may think, but I've gone too far. I'm too broken. Yet in the place you think is the end, God begins a new chapter. In the place you smell only death, he breathes life. In the place you see only a tomb, he calls your name, just as he once called Lazarus. Come out. The depths are not a period, they are a womb. They are the soil where seeds sprout. They are the dark before the dawn. And when you hear that call, you will know you have never been abandoned. You will not only survive the depths, you will rise from them with light in your eyes, testimony on your lips, and strength no one can take away. You know that in every great story, the hero must pass through the depths before stepping into glory. Jonah went through the belly of a fish. Joseph went through prison. David wandered in caves, fleeing his enemies. Paul lay blinded for 3 days after the Damascus light. And Jesus himself lay in the tomb for 3 days. No depths, no resurrection, no night, no dawn, no silence, no voice calling. You too. You may think the depths are the end, but in truth, they are a transitional chapter. If your life were a book, the pit is the page. The reader turns with bated breath, because everyone knows right after this, something unexpected happens. The enemy may laugh as you fall, but he does not know the pit is a nursery where God is preparing you to rise more brilliantly than ever. Remember, the call from the depths is unlike any other sound. It is not loud, not hurried, not like the shouts outside. It is a whisper that makes you tremble, a tiny echo that moves your whole heart. In thick darkness, you hear it more clearly than ever. My child, I am here. Those 3 words are enough to turn the pit into a temple, the dark into a meeting place, despair into hope. I once met a woman whose youth was buried in depression, long nights, wondering if anyone truly loved her. She stood many times on the brink, ready to end her life. One night, sitting on a cold floor under a dim light, she heard within her heart, "My child, I love you." She didn't know why she heard it or why it came, but from that moment, everything changed. She stopped trying to escape life and began to live. Today, she brings hope to hundreds facing darkness. The pit gave birth to light in her. You may be there now, feeling buried, but remember, a seed only sprouts once it's buried in the soil. In darkness, in silence, in what looks like death, new life begins to rise. The very pit you fear is the ground where your seed is sown. When the time comes, that seed will crack the shell, push a shoot through the soil, and nothing will stop it. Let me tell you this, the depths are not where you die. They are where you are reborn. The voice you hear there does not push you down. It pulls you up. It says, "Come out of the dark. Step into the light. I still have plans for you." When you stand, you will carry a light in your eyes that those who never entered the pit cannot have. Others will look at you and see a truth. You heard the call, and you came back to life. So right now, I invite you to a prophetic act. If you are in the pit, or if you have been there, whisper this: "I heard the call," in the depths. By saying it, you declare that darkness no longer has dominion over you. You declare that the pit did not bury you, but gave birth to you. You affirm that in the darkest place you were called awakened and given new life. Chosen one, you are not buried. You are the seed breaking through. You are not the end of the night. You are the one who hears the call and steps into the light. And one day when you look back at the pit, you will not tremble. You will be grateful because there you heard the call your life needed. There you found purpose, strength, and a light no other place could give. Here's the English translation of Pan 8, Din Chai Chua An Jin, the flow of grace, written in the same heartfelt storytelling style. Part 8, the flow of grace. Have you ever sat by a river and listened to the sound of the water flowing? At first it's just background noise, gentle, almost unnoticed. But if you sit long enough, you begin to hear a rhythm in it. Sometimes it babbles, sometimes it roars, sometimes it whispers, sometimes it sings. The river never stops, and it never flows exactly the same way twice. It is always new, always moving, always giving life. That is the picture of grace. Grace is not a treasure you receive once and lock away in a safe. Grace is a flow. It is always pouring out, always fresh, always reviving your soul. Every morning, when you open your eyes and take a breath, you are already touching that flow, whether you recognize it or not. But when you become aware, when you realize that you are standing in the stream, everything changes. Instead of living like a thirsty traveler by the riverbank, refusing to drink, you begin to cup the water with your hands and let it run through you. Many people think grace is only forgiveness, that God in His mercy does not punish their sins and that's all. But grace is so much greater. It does not only erase your past, it nourishes your present and opens your future. Grace is like a river that not only washes dirt off your hands, but also waters dry soil, causing seeds within you to grow into trees that bloom and bear fruit. Grace is the constant movement of life within you. Think about it. How many times should you have fallen but somehow stood back up? How many times did you believe it was the end only for a door to suddenly open? How many times did you condemn yourself for your mistakes, but then heard a gentle whisper, "You are still loved"? In all those moments you were standing in the flow of grace. You thought it was coincidence. You thought it was luck. But in truth, it was the Holy River streaming from the very heart of God. I once met a young man whose childhood was filled with wounds. His father left, and his mother worked herself to the bone to raise him. He grew bitter, hating himself and hating the world. He drowned himself in alcohol, drugs, and meaningless nights. One morning, after waking up on a park bench in the freezing wind, he saw a stranger hand him a cup of hot coffee and say, "God has not forgotten you." That one sentence, that single act, shattered the walls around his heart. He began searching for meaning. Slowly, he realized that the flow of grace had always been around him, even in his darkest nights. Today, he stands on the same streets handing out bread and hugs to the homeless, whispering, "God has not forgotten you." He became the flow of grace to others. You see, grace does not stop with you. When it flows through you, it keeps moving to others. A river does not only fill its own bed, it waters the fields along its banks. When you receive grace, you become a channel. And this world desperately needs channels. Too many are thirsty, weary, and convinced they have no worth. If you show them even one drop of grace, just one, it can change their lives forever. Grace does not choose you because you deserve it. In fact, if deserving were the standard, no one would qualify. Grace chooses you because you are loved, like rain falling on an entire field, not only on the flowers but also on the dry soil and rocks, like the sun shining on both the righteous and the wicked. Grace comes because God's nature is love, not because of your achievements. Picture yourself standing in a desert, parched and exhausted. The sun burns, the sand scorches, your throat is dry. You walk convinced you'll die. Then suddenly you hear the sound of running water. Trembling, you hurry forward and see a spring bubbling before you. You kneel and drink, and every drop revives your body. That is grace. And the wonder is, the spring never runs dry. No matter how many times you return, it keeps flowing. No matter how many times you waste it or muddy it, it keeps flowing. Do you remember the last time you were forgiven? Perhaps it was a mistake you thought no one could overlook. Yet someone did. That moment felt like a heavy burden fell from your shoulders, like you could breathe again after suffocating. That is just a glimpse of grace. But divine grace is infinitely greater. It does not only forgive a single mistake, it covers your entire life. It does not just wipe away one stain, it renews your entire heart. And know this grace does not always appear in the form you expect. Sometimes it comes as a closed door, keeping you from walking into destruction. Sometimes it comes as delay, teaching you patience. Sometimes it comes as tears so you can discover compassion. Don't think grace is only pleasant gifts. It may come through hardship, but it always leads you back to life. Why is grace like a river, not a stagnant pond? Because ponds can dry up, evaporate, or become polluted. But rivers are always moving, always searching, always finding their way into the driest ground. Grace in your life works the same. It doesn't stay still. It moves, it seeks, it flows into the cracks of your heart, into the dark places you don't want anyone to see. It is not afraid of dirt, of obstacles, of shadows. Grace is living power that never stops. Sometimes you think you've cut yourself off from that source. You've wandered too far, turned away, lost yourself in the wilderness. But one day in your thirst, grace springs up right before you again, because you were never truly apart from it. Grace is not a destination. It is the atmosphere. You breathe the underground river, always running beneath your feet. All you need to do is stop, dig down, and the water bursts forth. A friend once told me for years, he thought he had to save himself. He tried to be good, to do enough, to control every thought. But the harder he tried, the more he failed. One night he broke down and cried, "I can't anymore." And in that moment he realized grace never required him to be able. It only required him to be open. When he let go, the flow rushed in. The next morning, he said, the sunlight felt gentle instead of harsh. Every breath felt like a gift. From then on, he no longer lived to prove his worth. He lived to receive grace and give it away. Maybe you're like him. Maybe you've spent your life striving to prove, to achieve, to not be left behind. But grace doesn't need proof. It doesn't come because you're strong enough. It comes because you're weak enough. When you have nothing left to boast about, grace becomes your glory. When you no longer have the strength to stand, grace becomes the legs that lift you up. Remember the story of the woman at the well. She came at noon, ashamed of her past, avoiding people, But there she met Jesus, who told her he would give her living water, a stream flowing within her, so she had never thirst again. First, she came seeking water for her body, but received grace for her soul. She went back to her village, not with her head down, but running to proclaim, "Come see a man who told me everything I've ever done, yet still loved me." She became a channel of grace to her community. Grace is not theory, it is reality. It flows when you forgive the one who hurt you. It flows when you share your last piece of bread. It flows when you embrace someone who believes they are unworthy of love. And here's the miracle: every time you let grace flow through you, you are not emptied. You are filled more, like a river that waters fields, yet is constantly replenished by rain and springs. The more you give, the more you receive. Here's the secret of grace: it renews you every day. The world wears you down, but grace restores you. You may go to bed weary, but in the morning grace greets you with the sunrise. You may fall under pain, but the next day grace lifts you again. That's why Scripture says grace is new every morning. It isn't a ration you slowly use up until it's gone. It's a daily feast, always full, always new. Have you ever wondered why, after so many failures, you're still alive, still hoping, still given another chance? The answer is grace. It's why the enemy cannot write the final line in your story. It's why every wound doesn't become a grave, but a scar that tells of victory. It's why you can say, "I am not perfect, but I am loved." Picture your life as a small boat on the waves. Storms rage, rain pours, winds crash. Sometimes you think the boat will sink, but then you realize the boat is floating on a stronger current, a mighty river carrying it home. That river is grace. You may not know how to swim, but as long as you stay in the boat, the current will take you where you need to go. So, chosen one, stop fighting the current. Stop thinking you must strain to reach the destination. Let go. Let grace carry you. And when you arrive, you'll marvel. It wasn't your strength that brought you. It was grace. Looking back, you'll see every time you thought you would drown, the current held you up. Every time you thought you were lost, the current guided you. And that current flowing from the heart of God will never stop in your life. Let me make this clear as a seal on your heart. You live because of grace. You stand because of grace. You move forward because of grace. And you will finish your journey because of grace. Chosen one, you have drunk from this river. Now let it flow through you to others. Be a branch stream that carries grace wherever you go. Let every word, every action, every glance become a channel of grace, because this world is thirsty, and you are the vessel heaven has filled to pour out. The flow never stops, and neither will grace in your life. Got it. Here's part 9, the mantle of calling in English. US matching the same warm, prophetic storytelling tone as earlier parts. Part 9, the mantle of calling. There comes a moment in every life when you realize you were not born just to work, eat, sleep, and repeat. You were born to bear a mark, to carry a weight, to answer a call that rises above the everyday. That is calling. And this calling is not only a far-off whisper in your ear, it places a mantle upon you, an unseen cloak that both heaven and hell recognize as the sign that you have been chosen. This mantle is unlike any other garment. It is not woven of fabric or thread, but of trials, tears, victories, and even failures. Every stitch is a wound healed, a prayer heard, a step taken in the dark without falling. When you wear it, you do not put on calling alone. You put on your story, a story heaven has recorded. Do you remember Elijah and Elisha? Elijah was a great prophet, but when the time came, he threw his mantle on Elisha. That cloth was more than fabric, it was the sign of power, mission, and calling. When Elisha took it up, he stepped into a new journey, not a plowman anymore, but a prophet to a nation. That is the power of a mantle. It transforms identity. You might think, I'm not worthy to wear any mantle. but that thought itself is a sign you are being called. God does not choose those convinced of their perfection. He chooses the trembling, the bowed, the once broken, so that when they wear the mantle, all will know the power is not theirs, but the one who chose them. The mantle of calling does not require you to be strong. It requires you to be humble enough to receive. A man once told me his story. All his childhood he was mocked as useless. Teachers called him slow, classmates laughed at him. Even family doubted him. He grew up ashamed, took hard labor jobs, and dared not dream. One day in a small gathering, a pastor placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "God is calling you to lift others." He wept because for the first time, someone said he had value. From that day, he learned to help, to encourage, to pray for people. Today, he is no longer the nameless laborer. He is a spiritual pillar for a small community. He wears the mantle God placed on him, not one handed out by people. Your mantle may not look like another's. Some carry a mantle of healing, some of teaching, some of encouragement, some of leadership. But they share one truth when you put it on. You no longer live only for yourself. You become a messenger of something greater. You are a lamp set high, not to be hidden, but to shine. The mantle is not always light. It has weight because it is woven with responsibility. When you wear it, you will be drawn beyond your comfort zone. You will face new trials and larger battles, but you will also see greater glory. For the mantle is not only a burden, it is a shield. It not only demands, it protects. It makes the enemy recognize that you are no longer merely ordinary. You are marked, covered, and sent. Imagine you are standing in a crowded room. Everyone wears ordinary clothes. Then an invisible hand lays a radiant mantle across your shoulders. Every eye turns not because you are impressive, but because the mantle cannot be hidden. That is what happens in the spirit when you accept your calling. Human eyes may not see it, but the eyes of angels of the enemy, and eventually your own will. When you wear the mantle of calling, some around you will not understand. They will ask, why you? What's so special about you? You may feel questioned, criticized, even opposed. Remember, this mantle was not given by people, therefore no one can take it away. It does not come from a title, education, or awards. It comes from the hand of God. And once he has placed it, no one can strip it off. David was mocked by his brother when he reached the battlefield. You only came to watch. But God saw a king in him. Joseph was thrown into a pit by jealous brothers because of his dream, but God saw a governor in him. Elisha was just a farmer until Elijah's mantle touched him. Then he became a great prophet. These stories tell you one thing: people may dismiss you, but the mantle of calling still shines on your life. The mantle brings testing because it makes you different. You will find you cannot fit easily into the game's pleasures and choices others pursue. There will be times you want to lay it down and go back, but you cannot. Once you have felt its weight and light, you will never be satisfied with the old life again. That is the cost and the honor. You are chosen to walk a road few dare, but it is the road that leads to true meaning. I knew a woman who worked for years in an office living an ordinary life, yet a voice in her heart would not relent. You are called to lift abandoned children. She tried to ignore it, tried to live like everyone else, but the call would not be silent. One day she quit her job, opened a small home, and began taking in children no one wanted. Neighbors mocked her. Family said she was foolish. Today, dozens of children have a home, love, and hope. She is no longer ordinary. She wears the mantle of calling, and it has made her a light in her community. When you wear the mantle, you will not walk by your own strength. When you feel exhausted, the mantle reminds you that you are covered by a greater power. When you feel alone, it reminds you that you do not go by yourself. The one who called you goes with you. When you face opposition, it reminds you that you are on the right path. If the enemy did not feel threatened, he would not attack. He resists because the mantle upon you burns bright. Here is a wonder: the mantle of calling never grows old. The longer you walk, the better it fits. It matures with you, grows with you. At first, you may tremble and fumble beneath its weight, but the more you walk, the surer you become. And one day you realize you are not merely wearing the mantle, you have become it. Calling is no longer something outside of you. It has become your very nature. So, chosen one, do not fear when you hear the call. Do not doubt when you feel an invisible weight on your shoulders. Do not run when you realize you are different. Accept it. Put it on whether others understand or not. Walk in it even if the road is lonely. Remember, a day will come when you stand before the one who placed this mantle upon you, and he will smile and say, "Well done, you were faithful." Today I invite you to a prophetic act. Place your hand on your shoulder and imagine a mantle being laid across you. Say, "I put on the mantle of my calling." As you speak, you are not merely imagining, you are agreeing with heaven that you are chosen, you are sent, and you will not live as before. Chosen one, rise. The mantle is on you. The calling burns within you, and all of heaven is waiting for you to step into the journey you were born to complete. Part 10. The Song of Triumph. There is a moment in every story when the character has walked through all the darkness, all the loss, all the trials, and finally steps into the light. It is not merely a moment of victory, it is the song of triumph. It does not come from muscle nor from intellect, but from a long journey of faith, of hope, of love. And chosen one, you are approaching that moment. Imagine this: you step across a battlefield now silent, the smell of smoke still lingering, the ground still stained with blood, but the sun has risen. You breathe, and every breath is proof that you are still alive. You look back and see the wounds, the scars, but instead of shame, you smile because they testify that you endured, that you overcame. And within you, a song begins to rise. Not the arrogant song of pride, but the melody of one who has known the depths, who has endured the fire, and who now knows what restoration feels like. The song of triumph is not just music, it is the echo of the soul. It is the cry of the prodigal son returning home, falling into his father's arms as music fills the house. Let us celebrate, for this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. It is the voice of Israel as they crossed the Red Sea, looking back to see the Egyptian army swallowed by the waters, and they sang, "The Lord has triumphed gloriously." It is Paul chained in prison, still lifting up praises until the chains shattered and the doors swung open. The song of triumph does not depend on circumstances. It flows from the truth that victory is already yours, even if the world has not yet seen it. I once met a man who battled cancer for many years. He said, "There were days I was too weak to sing, too weak to even pray, but I would play a hymn and let the songs sing for me." He shared that on the nights of greatest pain, when he thought he would not survive, a chorus would rise within him, "I am not afraid to die, for I know he lives." And in those fragile moments he found the song of triumph, not because his body was instantly healed, but because his soul was set free. Your song of triumph may not sound like anyone else's. For some, it is laughter after years of tears. For others, it is the embrace of reunion after long separation. For another, it may be just a whisper, "I made it through." But whether small or grand, it resounds in heaven, for all of heaven rejoices at the victories of God's children. And here is the wonder: the song of triumph is not sung just once. It becomes the background melody of your life. From the moment you hear it, you never forget it. You may face new battles, but the song remains, reminding you that you have overcome before and you will overcome again. It is like a warrior's anthem, echoing each time you step into the fight. It never grows old. The more it is sung, the stronger it becomes. Picture this: you stand in a great hall surrounded by thousands who have fought alongside you, All carry scars, but all are smiling. Then one voice begins to sing, another joins, then another and another until the whole hall erupts in song. Not individual voices anymore, but a mighty chorus. This is the song of triumph, not just yours, but the song of all who have overcome, rising together in glory. Chosen one, let me be clear, your song of triumph is coming. You have walked through the depths, endured. The fire worn, the armor carried, the mantle. Now is the time to sing. Do not wait for perfection to raise your voice. Sing while the wounds are still fresh, while the tears still flow, for that is faith. And that faith turns your song into a weapon. It will shake prisons, break chains, and strike fear into the enemy. For the enemy cannot understand how you can still sing in the darkness, but you know it is the song of triumph, and no power can take it away. Have you ever seen an army return from victory? They do not just march to the sound of trumpets. Their very eyes, their footsteps, their scars, all of it sings one anthem: we have overcome. That is the song of triumph, sung not only with voices, but with very presence. And you, chosen one, will also become a living song. People will look at you and realize something greater is resounding through your life. The song of triumph also resounds in silence. Sometimes it is not a shout, but a strange peace resting on your heart, even while chaos rages around you. Others will look and ask, why are you not afraid? Why are you not shaken? But within you, the song whispers, He is with me. That song anchors you when everything else collapses. It makes you shine in the dark. And the song of triumph has another power it spreads. When you sing, others will sing. When you stand, others will rise. When you smile through pain, others will find hope for themselves. Your song is not only your reward, it is a spark that ignites others. You may never know how many will find strength because you sang your song. Remember Paul and Silas in prison. Beaten, chained, yet at midnight they sang. And when they did, not only their chains broke, but everyone's chains fell. That is the power of the song of triumph. When you sing, you are not only setting yourself free, you are opening the prison doors for those around you. Your song unlocks freedom for generations. See this vision: you stand on a hill after the battle. Your armor bears scars, your mantle whips in the wind, and in your hand gleams a sword. You lift your face, and from deep within the song of triumph bursts forth. No one teaches you the melody, it is etched into your soul. No one writes the words, they are written by your journey. And as you sing, heaven and earth join mountains. Echo seas, roar, angels sing. For your victory is not just your own, it is the anthem of the kingdom. So, chosen one, do not remain silent. Do not let the enemy steal your voice. Sing, even if hoarse, even if weak. For every note is an arrow piercing the darkness. Declare it now. This is my song of triumph. I have endured, I have overcome, and I will sing forever. When you speak it, you proclaim to heaven and earth that you are no longer a victim, but a victor. And from this day on, let that song be your rhythm. Let it resound in your steps, in your words, in every choice you make. Let your life become a melody, the melody of one who fell but rose again, who was lost, but was found, who was dead but now lives. That is the song of triumph, and it will never fade. Some stories cannot end with a period, they must end with an open door. The journey you have walked through these chapters, from the depths of despair, the fire of trial, the forging of armor, the mantle of calling to the song of triumph, was never meant to simply be read and closed. It was meant to be marked into your very life. Do you see it now? Every trial, every image, every prophetic word was not just ink on a page. They were mirrors of your soul. The depths you have walked through them, the fire you have endured it, the battles you have been wounded in them. And yet you are the one who rose, who heard the call, who wore the armor, who sang in the dark. This epilogue does not close the story. It opens your eyes to see this story is yours. You no longer need to ask, am I really the chosen one? For the very fact that you are still standing, still breathing, still listening, still yearning, that is the proof. Ordinary people would have given up long ago, but you did not. That is the mark of the chosen. Picture yourself at a crossroads. Behind you lies a path of dust, scars, and tears. Before you, light breaks open. You no longer walk as one uncertain, but as a warrior forged as a crown bearer, as a living witness of God's faithfulness. And alongside you, an army of chosen ones rises too. This epilogue is the promise the story does not end here. Everything you have endured was only the beginning. Every scar will become a testimony. Every tear will turn into a pearl. Every fall will become a stepping stone for your ascent. You step out of these pages not as a reader, but as the main character carrying the fire, carrying the song, carrying the crown to write the next chapter of your destiny. Chosen one, remember this. The enemy's plan has failed. You have risen. You have been anointed. You carry the song of triumph within you. This is not the end, it is the trumpet blast of a new beginning. And as you walk forward, let the world know the chosen has arisen.